Well, good afternoon and a pleasant welcome back. We stay here and we are very sorry to our many viewers and listeners across the globe due to network problem here. We had to go off, and is our technical team is doing everything possible to make sure that this game at least a bit is brought to you so that you can be a part of this great event. And like I said, this is the continuation of the Armed Forces Day celebration. So we stay managing here to see how our how our you have Lofa County against the Armed Forces of Liberia, and Lofa is in the lead 1 goal, while the Armed Forces of Liberia is struggling with 0. And you have President George Manning Weah also represent Forces of Liberia, Lofa County. That's goal number with this honor. The referee says no goal, so the stay travel and the Forces of Liberia, President George Manning Weah. He connects his teammate, the player wearing jersey number 17, and the referee calls for infringement against Lofa County. Josh Manning Weah. Josh Weah tried to connect Josh Gibro, and the referee calls for foul against Lofa, and you have Josh Gibro there. Let's see what Gibro is going to do. And Gibro was a part of George Manning Weah in conversation with Calvin Singbe, wearing jersey number 6, and Kevin Singbe is moving to George Giblo. Let's see what they are going to do. Is this going to bring them back? George Giblo tried to connect, put his right foot into it, and making it no trouble to. And you have Vina Smith. Vina Smith is the goalkeeper who brought the victory to Lofa County. The chief of staff of the Armed Forces of Liberia, Prince C. Wearing jersey number 12, Prince C. Johnson, will be stepping out, and so the chief of staff did extremely well, but this time around he was called to rest. And this is so the ref calls for penalty against Lofa County. Let's see who's going to take that kick. Is it George Manning Weah with his big number 22? Is Manning going to take that kick? Josh. So this is a friendly against the champions. The Armed Forces The armed forces is down 1-0. So let's see who's taking that kick. Kevin Singbe against Vina Smith. Oh my God! Kevin, Kevin did not do too well to secure the equalizer for the armed forces. So the ball travels back on the field of play. The armed forces of Liberia possession. Wearing jersey number 1 for the armed forces of Liberia tries to connect his teammate very well. The ball stayed there. The armed forces counted trying to show that supremacy again, that they are the champions. They are the champions. That they are the champions in Liberia. So they are showing that President George Manning Weah running everywhere, managing to get a bit of the ball so that he can bring that equalizer. The male wearing jersey number 24 for Lofa County tried to connect his teammate, but not do too well. Chokon wearing jersey number 2 for the armed forces of Liberia will be coming up in a moment. From he's going to be coming out. Chokon will soon be coming out very soon. Unlike 20 minutes in this game, and Lofa County still has a better hand. Substitution. Chokon coming out. The man wearing jersey number 5 for the armed forces of Liberia will step in. That's Young Thomas. Minister Chokon wearing jersey number 2 for the armed forces of Liberia. Young Thomas bring that proud to the armed forces, but his great defense. Let's see whether their defense will forces of Liberia been since the start of this friendly. But let's see, George Manning to get a better put his men. That is not working. And so welcome back. We stay here. Lofa County stay in possession. Lofa. That's the man. Where Aaron did not do well. The armed forces of Liberia have a very strong defense here. to Keita. Keita tries to connect James Topper, but he did not do too well. So, like we told you earlier, we are very as it relates to the network. We're trying our possible best to get you what we are able, but the network here is providing services. Is putting up a scrum move here, and the armed forces of Liberia, George Jubilo connects President George again with the men wearing jersey number 10 for the armed forces of Liberia, and the Reverend says to Lofa, and the army is doing in midfield, but in terms of their defense, that's the problem and the structure problem for the armed forces of Liberia. But let's see whether President George, who's in control of the ball now, will try his best. George Jubilo. George moving deep into, but back to Lofa, making it no trouble, no trouble, no trouble. Making their way. And oh my God, the Reverend says play. And substitution for Lofa County. Number 20 to the men wearing jersey number 7, Charge Israel. Charge Israel making way for Savior Brown. Don't worry, 7 now has the chance to either maintain the championship of Lofa County, putting up a very strong defense. Another substitution in the making for Lofa County. Patrick Cooley. Patrick Cooley is getting in to see how Lofa will maintain this 1-goal lead. And Jeremiah Johnson is giving way to Savior Brown. Josh Jubilo. Josh Manon Weah. His teammate, and we are again. And this time around, nothing happened. Lofa in possession, wearing number 24 for Lofa County. He tries to connect his teammate extremely well. Lofa County stay moving deep into the half of the armed forces of Liberia. James Topper, who was digging deep into the half of the armed forces of Liberia. James Topper with that, and the armed forces of Liberia. George Jubilo, he tries to connect his teammate, and he did. Ball travels back to the male wearing jersey number 4, Kevin Singbe. George Manon Weah. Let's see what's going to happen. The armed forces of Liberia has redeemed Kevin Singbe from George Manon Weah to Kevin Singbe. Now, the score is Lofa 1, the armed forces of Liberia, with the help of George Manon Weah and Calvin Simba collaboration, now the armed forces of Liberia has a breathing space. But the champions of Liberia are still managing. James Tapper not do well. The busted the armed forces of Liberia, like we don't really have their full names there. Bear with us. Usman is the one posted for the armed forces. James Tapper tried and goes to number 13 for Lofa County. And the ball travels back to the defense. George Manon Weah trying to pull up a defense. And George Manon Weah is now in possession. Let's see what's going to happen. George Manon Weah was goalkeeping department of our men and women in Xavier Brown put into it and made no harm to the armed forces. The records for corner. The records for corner. Armed forces of Liberia. The goal pole. The waiting. Brought first that is the armed one. Take this game. Lofa should not win this game. Let's try our best to Mr. Lyman. It's one of the latest Dr. George Manon Weah. God know I didn't do the thing you say I do, Mr. Lofa County 1, the Liberia 1. And we're leading the armed forces of Liberia. Currently, this is one. So this is in continuation of the 64th anniversary of the Armed Forces of Liberia. So if you're just joining us, we want to welcome you. Let's celebrate the Army. Let's celebrate the Army of Liberia. Yes, sir. Let's celebrate the Army of Liberia today. Today is their day for become and call the person of the armed forces and say Thank you so much for your service. Happy Armed Forces Day to you. That is what we need to do for them today as they celebrate another beautiful, beautiful, beautiful anniversary. The 64th anniversary. This is the anniversary of the forces of Liberia. And Lofa is taking this game very serious. She's taking this game very serious. The boys are not giving we the chance. At least they need to allow our president to the beauty of a goal. Wants to supremacy are the champions and just here yes you know the lion by President George Mannen Weah.
What's up, man? Long time. Hey, my God.